we see every day. So we try to give them this right information by carrying out peer-to-peer outreaches, going to schools to give talks on the assembly ground, and doing a whole lot around advocacy. By doing this, we're trying to correct that wrong information which is in circulation in the society. And by doing that, we end up seeing youths making informed choices to correct those wrong informations they have already.
Yeah, and you talking about, giving information. Yes, what kind of information, when we talk about reproductive health, is it more of prevention or abstinence?
Okay, concerning information that is being passed out to the youth out there, firstly, we advocate for abstinence. That's our main priority. But we cannot shy away from the truth that, in as much as talk about abstinence, a lot of youth out there are not abstaining. So we also have to give them the information on prevention. Gone are the days where you give a child one side of the information which you think is right for the person. Youths now want to make their own decisions themselves. They don't want to be given what to do, but instead it's best to give them this information, make them see the positive parts of it, make them see the consequences of it, and they will decide to make their own decisions.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What is it that young people, aside from just having the information, what else, or what are those other things that it can benefit from civic engagement?
Civic engagement. Okay, we were just, it's funny you asked the question, because when we were coming, I was asking them, we were discussing that, really what's the benefit? They do a lot of volunteer work. I mean, she's a student, like half of the time she's doing little things with young people all over Lagos. I mean, they don't pay her, she doesn't pay anything, she's involved in the National Youth Service Peer Educator training where they engage young people in different schools. She actually goes to secondary schools, not secondary school, primary schools even, and some secondary schools. Gives assembly talks, engages students. He is a freelance journalist that does a lot. So why do they do all these things? Well, we were thinking, so what's the benefit to you really? Well, one of the first things would be that it's minus social entrepreneurship, where they can actually gain from it. You are really changing and impacting lives. I mean, that's the first thing. You are giving young people the choice to make decisions per se. So that's one of the benefits. You can change lives. Well, secondly, we had also said with regards to these days of unemployment, where people stay at home for years looking for nothing, you can actually engage in some of these things, and it gives you skills. It gives you skills that are translatable and so marketable to other people over the years, and it has been seen so. Also, you get the opportunity to have a lot of exposure. I mean, Elizabeth has met with policymakers, people that actually can make decisions. You do get exposed to meet your mentors, to meet people within, when you are engaged in civic duties, it gives you the opportunity and platforms that you may not have had before to meet people who can actually make decisions thereabout, because people see you are interested and motivated and you have passion about something. So those are some of the areas we were saying. So why are we using so much of their time doing free work, so to speak? Yeah.
Okay. And Rosalind, most of the sexual and reproductive health issues and programs seem to ignore cultural and social issues. How are you able to make sure that whatever information you are passing on is not against the culture or the social nature of that society?
Okay, in as much as most of this information try to neglect culture, we also try to, in a way, correct cultural practices. Now, there's the issue of the female genital mutilation. Now, most culture practices, and they see it as a form of, they engage females. They like them being mutilated, sort of they cut part of the clitoris, because they believe that when it's not cut out, the females turn out to be promiscuous, and they do this. But in the process of doing this, the female is even at a risk. She might even contract maybe HIV or some diseases in the process. And sometimes we even try to correct it. We try to preach against that cultural practice that female genital mutilation is not good. And as much as possible, cultures should, fine, they have their reasons for doing it, but there's almost no medical benefit attached to it. And so they should stop doing these things.
Okay, and David, you've been into this work. You just said you're a freelance journalist. What are some of those other cultural issues that you think, yes, in putting out this information about reproductive health, we need to consider?
Okay, the issue of child marriage. Everybody knows that anyone below the age of 18 falls into child marriage is not of the person's will. So in controlling this from the UNFPA Youth Participatory Platform, we try to discuss about this, how we can help young people who are suffering from these issues. So aside that, we have the issues of people, girls, who are neglected from going to schools because of some cultural issues. And these are not supposed to be. The issue in a situation whereby you are not allowed to go to school because you are a female. Maybe you end up in, maybe some people have the notion that females will end up in the kitchen. And these things are not supposed to be true, so are not supposed to be so. And the issues of culture, we try to control all this, to correct all this among the young people, because even the young people are the ones that will stand up for their in their family that I need to go to school. And this issue of child marriage needs to stop.
What about self-education, for instance? Do you also encourage them to seek for ways to better themselves?
Self-education, yeah. And that's one of the reasons why we come together, to educate one another. And I think educating yourself, and since you know you want to go to school as out of the will of your parent because of some cultural issues, then self-education will definitely come in.
Okay. Let me ask Elizabeth this. How can the society, the media, the government, better promote youth civic engagement? How do you think that can work?
Well, society, the media and the government, they have a huge role to play in ensuring that youth actually participate in civic engagement. Coming from the family, which is the basic unit of the society, parents need to start enlightening their children on the importance of civic engagement, just as we've actually highlighted the benefits they can actually stand to gain. Apart from that, schools can also do a lot to ensure that this is being taught. For example, there's a subject in schools called civic education. It would be a very nice thing if a topic on civic engagement could actually be introduced, whereby students at an early age or at an early stage of life can actually see the benefits and the importance of civic engagement. Moving to the government, well, governments are not so, they are very, very receptive to youth organizations. As Dr. Maka said earlier on, we have a lot of young people who are coming up with beautiful initiatives. But when you go to the government, they actually turn down on you. They look down on you because you are a youth, because you are a young person. So we need the government to be a little more accommodative of young people who are setting up organizations. And also, the government should actually create platforms whereby youth can actually participate in civic engagement. Just to add to what my colleague David said concerning self-education, one of the organizations, which is one of the largest organizations promoting access to sexual and reproductive health issues in Nigeria, which is Action Not Incorporated, is actually funded by the United Nations Population Fund. They actually have a program called the Youth Skills Development Program, which I am actually a benefit of. And this program actually allows secondary school students who just finished their O-level results to actually undergo a one-year training whereby they actually get to save up for school. So in a case whereby you get admission, you get to school, there's a startup fund for you to actually clear your fees. So that also promotes self-education.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just ask Dr. Maka. Dr. Maka, August 12th is the International Youth Day. But what I want to ask is, how can the young people